the book that you have out now, and then also share with us what else you're working on, and then lastly, talk a little bit about how you changed your life and you're actually working to help kids out.
Well, I'm working on some projects with Top Cat Productions, and that's a good friend of mine that I grew up with, and he's the president of the company, and we're involved in several projects, TV projects, series, shows, and some other major movie films. I'm also putting a book out called Prison Rules. It's a follow-up to the book I had out, Gotti's Rules with George Anastasia. It was a New York Times bestseller. And
awesome.
Gotti's Rules has been out there for a couple of years now. Prison Rules will be about different aspects of what you go through personally, your family goes through mentally, emotionally, physically in jails, the superseding indictments, the possible cooperation of your co-defendants, the real world of prison, what goes on with guards, inmates, whether they're ball players, Wall Street guys, college students that are selling drugs, or gangsters. And, you know, you get some opinions of all them dirty police that were locked up and arrested, like a guy like Michael Dowd for the 75 Precinct, famous documentary. If somebody looks him up, he's a personal friend of mine over the years. And, you know, some of those aspects, and it dives into, you know, the mental stability of myself, other people, therapists talking, and you get different aspects and opinions of the prison system, what it is to be poked and pried and proddled as far as, you know, bending over, checking your cavities, whether it's your mouth, whether checking what's, you know, down your pants, up your pants, and some of that degrading stuff that goes on, being four-pointed, some of the things that went on in riots, Brazil penitentiaries I was in. So it covers the whole thing of the prison system and the life. And it's kind of very, to me, it's a very interesting book. It doesn't specifically talk about one person or group, or myself, actually. It just dives into the whole aspect of the system, how it works, and what goes on with it.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
And then I got a movie.
Yeah.
What's that? I got a movie.
No, go ahead, John. Sorry.
It's okay. I got a movie that's coming out called The Perfect Gangster. It's in Albania now. Andy Deliano is the director, producer of the film with Digital in Albania. It's going to be a Balkan film, and I think it's going to be moved to different parts of different countries in England, Australia, and elsewhere in the world. And that series is supposed to be coming out in a couple of weeks now, I believe. I think they're doing their first television previews on that in the next couple of weeks in Albania.
Fantastic. Now, maybe shed a little light on some of the stuff you're doing with anti-bullying and kids.
Well, you know, I get a lot of feedback from schools, whether it's high schools, colleges, juvenile centers. You know, I've worked with some wardens of juvenile centers, restart programs with Queens, Montgomery Township, PA. I worked on one-on-one projects with some kids that were in trouble there. And I do internet one-on-ones. I do classrooms. And what I do is talk about the reality of the loyalty of this life. And I go back and forth through some of the stories of what guys have done to their best friends that were, you know, mob-related, gang-related, setting them up, killing them for money, not helping them when they're in prisons, turning on them. And the realities that kids don't see of the life is just like I got trapped into it, and I became a violent guy, and I was in and out of prisons. And, you know, I try to talk to kids about not becoming part of the cycle of in and out of jail, part of what their fathers possibly did, and change their life and give them some hope to go in the right direction. And I don't want to be one of those guys that is going to glamorize the pain and suffering that everybody felt in this life. I don't care if you're a Latin King. I don't care if you're an AB. I don't care if you're a mob guy or a Blood or a Crip. Their family members, their sons, fathers that either were killed or, you know, put in jail, or their families without parents. I mean, that's the reality of the life that no one sees. They only see the good part, the money, and they don't see guys like, and I used them the other day, Jimmy Catacamo, that goes to jail and he goes right into suicide watch for 4 months. And then he'll walk around the street like he did his time. I go, it's a lie, and I want kids to know it's a lie. And there's nothing wrong that he did go into that suicide watch. I want to make that straight. I happen to personally not like him, but then don't play that role. Come out and try to talk to kids, try to help kids. Don't get in touch with Gotti and think you're a half a gangster when you're not. Either is he. He was a rat. You're a rat. And say what it is. Say that you were cooperating. You know, he's one of the guys, when the FBI went to him, he says, well, I'll just rat on Johnny A like everybody else did and stay out of jail. Or, you know, any of these guys. Johnny Burke that was cooperating with the government, could get his deal cut. And, he's portraying that he got a life sentence. Well, you did get a life sentence out of stupidity, but you also are cooperating. You went in before all these guys, and these kids got to know this stuff because, not that I'm outing these guys, because I want the kids to understand the treachery of the life, how they're lying.